When we think of angels, our minds often conjure images of gentle, ethereal beings with soft wings and serene expressions, perhaps strumming a harp. And while those images hold a certain beauty, the Bible actually paints a much more dynamic, often awe-inspiring, picture of these heavenly messengers. Among them, one figure stands out with incredible power, unwavering loyalty, and a warrior's spirit that has battled cosmic evil for millennia. Today, we're going to pull back the veil and meet the mighty Archangel Michael. He's not just a beautiful celestial being. He's a general in God's army, a protector of his people, and a key player in some of the most epic spiritual battles ever recorded. His story is one of unwavering devotion, fierce courage, and a deep understanding of God's supreme authority. It's a reminder that there's a powerful, unseen war being fought for our souls, and God has mighty champions on our side. This isn't just an ancient tale about angels. It's a profound revelation of God's power and his commitment to defend his chosen ones. Before we dive into the incredible story of this celestial warrior, if you're eager to uncover more powerful truths and unseen stories from God's Word, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Bible Story Spot. Your support truly helps us share these vital truths with more people. Who is Michael? The Archangel revealed. So, let's begin with the basics. Who is Michael? The Bible gives him a unique title, Archangel. This isn't just a fancy name. It signifies a position of immense authority and leadership among the angels. Think of him as the chief commander, the top general in God's vast heavenly army. When the Bible refers to the Archangel, it's always Michael, suggesting he holds a singular, unparalleled rank. His very name, Michael, is powerful and meaningful. It comes from the Hebrew words Mikael, which means who is like God. It's not a question seeking an answer, but a rhetorical challenge, declaring that no one is truly comparable to the Almighty. This name perfectly encapsulates his unwavering loyalty and zeal for God's glory. His entire being declares God's supremacy. Now, unlike some other angelic figures, Michael isn't mentioned often in the Bible, but every time he appears, it's in a moment of intense spiritual conflict or divine intervention. He's not involved in delivering gentle messages or guiding individuals. In everyday tasks, he steps onto the scene when the stakes are incredibly high and spiritual warfare is at its peak. His role as a protector of God's people. One of Michael's primary roles is that of a guardian and protector of God's people, particularly Israel. We see this clearly in the book of Daniel. Imagine Daniel, the prophet, deeply troubled and praying, seeking understanding about future events. He's been fasting, earnestly seeking God's wisdom, and a heavenly messenger, likely Gabriel, appears to him. This messenger reveals something astonishing. He tells Daniel that he was delayed in coming because the prince of the Persian kingdom resisted me 21 days. Then Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me because I was detained there with the king of Persia. Can you grasp the intensity of this moment? This isn't just a human delay. This is an unseen spiritual battle, a cosmic showdown between angelic forces representing nations and spiritual strongholds. The prince of the Persian kingdom isn't a human king, but a powerful demonic entity influencing that earthly kingdom. Gabriel, a mighty angel himself, was held up in this spiritual conflict, and it took Michael, a chief prince, to break through. This passage gives us a dramatic glimpse behind the curtain of the physical world, showing us that earthly events are often influenced by heavenly battles. And in those battles, Michael is there, fighting for God's purposes and defending his people against demonic opposition. He's a celestial bodyguard for the nation of Israel and, by extension, for all of God's chosen. Later in Daniel, the prophet is told, "At that time, Michael, the great prince who protects your people, will arise." This reinforces his role as a special guardian over Israel, especially during times of great tribulation and at the very end of days. It paints a picture of Michael as a constant, watchful defender, ready to act when God's people face their greatest trials. Another incredible, yet brief, glimpse into Michael's character and role is found in the New Testament, in the short but powerful book of Jude. Here, Jude writes, "But even the Archangel Michael, when he was disputing with the devil about the body of Moses, did not himself dare to condemn him for slander, but said, "The Lord rebuke you." Think about the scene. The Archangel Michael, face to face with the devil himself, arguing over the body of Moses. Why the dispute? The Bible doesn't explicitly say, but commentaries suggest the devil might have wanted to desecrate Moses' body, perhaps to promote idolatry, or perhaps just out of sheer malice. Whatever the reason, it was a direct confrontation between the chief of angels and the chief of fallen angels. But notice Michael's incredibly humble and righteous response. He didn't engage in a shouting match. He didn't boast in his own power, even though he is mighty. He didn't slander the devil, even when the devil was surely slandering God. Instead, Michael, in a profound act of submission to a higher authority, simply declared, "The Lord rebuke you." He deferred judgment and power to God alone. This action not only showcases his immense power, but also his absolute reverence and obedience to God's authority. He knows his place in the divine hierarchy, and he relies solely on God's power and judgment. This single verse tells us so much about Michael: his direct involvement in spiritual warfare, his face-to-face encounters with pure evil, and his unwavering commitment to God's sovereignty, even in the heat of battle. He is a formidable warrior, yes, but one who fights under God's command, not of his own accord. The most vivid and dramatic depiction of Archangel Michael's power and purpose comes to us from the book of Revelation, chapter 12. This is where we see the culmination of the spiritual warfare that has raged since the beginning of time. Imagine, if you can, a scene unfolding in the heavens beyond our sight. John, the apostle, receives this vision. Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. This is no ordinary skirmish. This is a monumental, universe-shaking conflict. On one side, you have the forces of darkness, the dragon, who is Satan, the devil, that ancient serpent, and his fallen angels. On the other side, leading the charge for righteousness, is Michael and his angels. This verse firmly establishes Michael as the direct adversary of Satan, the one designated by God to confront and defeat him in this ultimate heavenly war. And what is the outcome of this epic clash? There's no ambiguity, no drawn-out suspense. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. Michael, with God's power flowing through him, is victorious. Satan and his demonic legions are utterly defeated, cast out of heaven forever. They lose their access, their position, their very place in the heavenly realms. This isn't a temporary setback for Satan. It's a decisive, irreversible defeat from his previous high standing. This victory by Michael is incredibly significant. It means that the accuser of our brothers and sisters, as Satan is also called in Revelation 12 verse 10, is finally silenced in heaven. His ability to stand before God and accuse believers is stripped away. It's a powerful moment of divine justice and liberation, spearheaded by Michael. So, we see Michael as the Archangel, a top commander, the protector of God's people, active in spiritual battles for them, the warrior who defeats Satan, leading God's angels to cast him out of heaven. Even in other biblical contexts, Michael is implicitly linked to momentous, end-time events. The prophet Daniel, again, mentions him as the great prince who protects your people when there will be a time of distress such as has not happened from the beginning of nations until then. And then, immediately following that, comes the promise of the resurrection for God's people. This again links Michael to God's ultimate plan for his people, particularly during times of intense tribulation and ushering in the final days. He is positioned as a key figure in the spiritual landscape leading up to Christ's ultimate triumph. So, what does knowing about Archangel Michael mean for us, as believers living in a world full of challenges and unseen battles? Reassurance in spiritual warfare: we are not alone. The Bible makes it clear that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual forces of evil. Ephesians 6 verse 12. Michael's existence and his active role remind us that God has powerful, heavenly champions fighting on our behalf. When you feel overwhelmed by spiritual attack, remember that God has generals like Michael standing ready. God's sovereignty in control. Michael's strength comes from God. He consistently defers to God's authority, even in direct confrontation with the devil. This emphasizes that while spiritual battles rage, God is ultimately in control. His plans cannot be thwarted by any demonic force, no matter how powerful. Encouragement to stand firm. If Michael, the great archangel, fights under God's command, how much more should we, as God's children, submit to his will and stand firm in our faith? Against the schemes of the enemy, we are called to put on the full armor of God, trusting in his power, knowing we are on the winning side led by him. Archangel Michael stands as a powerful testament to God's might, his protection over his people, and his ultimate victory over evil. He is a majestic, unwavering warrior whose very name asks, "Who is like God?" And in every battle, in every defense, in every defeat of darkness, Michael declares the resounding answer, "No one." What part of Archangel Michael's story inspires you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this journey into the powerful role of God's archangel has strengthened your faith and understanding, please give this video a like and subscribe to Bible Story Spot for more deep dives into the incredible truths and unseen stories from God's Word. Thank you for joining us.